Hi everyone, good evening everyone. Mic on? Could we ask that you take your respective seats?
Everybody now, let's go. Come on, come on. Hey. Whoa, oh, whoa, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Whoa, oh, whoa, oh, yeah, yeah. It's time to make a difference. It's time to turn that page. We got to do the right things if we want brighter days. Cause things ain't getting easy and the road ahead is tough. It's up to you and I to make the madness stop. Every day the things getting harder, and every day the things getting rough, and every day they hike the food prices and they implementing more tax. For the sake of our twin nation and the youth of the next generation, let's stand united, show we're not divided. Let's show them now and send them a message now.
Show them that we're the voice of hope.
Send them a message now.
Show them that our country ain't no joke.
Send them a message now.
Show them that we're the ones who care.
Send them a message now.
Oh, 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 yeah, yeah.
Everybody now. Whoa, oh, whoa, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Whoa, oh, whoa, yeah, yeah.
From a distance, look at the picture. Tell me what you see.
What you see?
An abstract of destruction to destroy you and me. We got to do the right thing. We got to make that move. Cause if we don't act fast on this, we're the ones who lose.
Every day the things getting harder, and every day the things getting rough, and every day they hike the food prices and they implementing more tax. For the sake of our twin nation and the youth of the next generation, let's stand united, show we're not divided. Let's show them now and send them a message now.
Show them that we are the voice of hope.
Send them a message now.
Show them that our country ain't no joke.
Send them a message now.
Show them that we are the ones who care.
Send them a message now.
Oh, 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 yeah, yeah.
We stand united in the belief that if you empower community, the community empowers the country.
We are the party that gave every child a secondary school education since 2001.
By building more schools in 11 years than others did in 40. We believe that no child,
Rich or poor, should be left behind.
which is why we give every Form 1 student a laptop to expand their minds and their dreams.
We are the party that put police cars back on the streets.
And gave the police a $1,000 bonus because we believe that we should support the persons who are protecting you.
We are the party that reduced the murder rate to its lowest in 14 years. We expanded GATE, stopped the property tax, and increased maternity leave.
We are the party that invested in you and in your community by investing in schools, community centers, lighted parks, 24-hour health centers, and the most extensive road repair program in decades.
We believe that education is always the solution and that no one should have to pick between sending their child to school or buying food.
We are the party that works for you. We are the first responders in every situation, working to deliver a better standard of living for you and your family.
And most importantly, we have confidence in you. the people of Trinidad and Tobago. This is not a campaign, it's a movement based on building communities and strengthening families.
Come out and join us, and together we will get the nation working and moving again. Our children will once again have access to gate and technology.
We will improve healthcare.
By cutting the time it takes to see a doctor in an emergency, we will establish a senior citizen unit in every major hospital and staff the hospital with the doctors and nurses you need to create a first-class healthcare system. We will focus on creating high-paying jobs, fixing our laws to remove red tape, and ensuring that you and your family are safer. We will reduce corporate taxes to jumpstart the economy, create a special investment zone along the East-West corridor, and work with entrepreneurs to build a digital economy. This is an investment in your community to move the nation forward and get TNT working again.
Whether you are from 4th Street in Barataria to Railway Road in Dow Village, from Green Street in Tunapuna to Clark Road in Dibay, from La Hoqueta to Moruga, from Mayaro to Scarborough, we are one people with the same dreams of a better tomorrow. And when we stand together, we win together. We are UNC and proud.
Side by side we stand, islands of the blue Caribbean Sea. Yes, our native land, we pledge our lives to thee. Every creed and phrase find an equal place and make godless a nation. Every creed and phrase find an equal place. And may God bless our nation.
Kindly remain standing for a word of prayer.
Almighty God, most beneficial and merciful, Creator of the universe and embodiment of divine wisdom and light, we come before you with thanksgiving and praise. May your will be done in our nation as it is in the heavens. Please bless our political leader, party officials, activists, and all the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Give us the grace to always see good, be good, and do good, and the courage to serve the people. Protect us as we stand against injustice and iniquity, and inspire our endeavors to find the right solutions to the problems that are affecting our fellow citizens. Grant that we may always work together with humility and respect for the greater happiness of all and the honor and glory of our country.
Thank you very much. You may have your seats. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for being here this evening at the constituency office of the Member of Parliament for Oropouche East. This is, as we all know, a session in keeping with the dictates and the decision of the executive of the United National Congress and the leader of the opposition to hold pre-budget discussions before the 2024-2025 national budget. As you know, there have been a number of these discussions throughout the country. This evening, it's the turn of the constituency of Oropouche East. On behalf of the Member of Parliament, the distinguished Honorable Dr. Rudal Munilal, I welcome you to this hall this evening, and I equally welcome the many who are viewing and listening on social media locally and internationally. Thank you very much. I also want to acknowledge there are a number of national and party officials here. I want to acknowledge Councillor Shanti Budram, Councillor Kanhai, and others, several others, members of the executive of the Oropouche East constituency and others. Thank you all very much for being here. And in addition to which, of course, our distinguished members of the head table. Do we have Mr. Raymond Surojbali here? All right, could I ask the Public Relations Officer of the United National Congress, Dr. Kirk Megu, to come and just give us a brief word of welcome to our distinguished audience here and our equally large and larger audience on social media. Dr. Megu.
Thank you, Chairman, members of the head table, and audience. Thank you so much for coming out this evening. I know there are many other things you can be doing, and we appreciate your presence here. We look forward to listening to you and what you have to say. What you're doing here is extremely important for us, because a lot of people, I'm sure, would have told you, you might be thinking it yourself, what is the point of coming out to all these budget discussions? The government is not going to listen to the opposition, and they're just going to do what they want. But what you all are doing is actually providing us with ammunition, with the truth, because you know what's going to happen. Colm Imbert is going to come in the parliament to the country and lie. He's going to say the economy is doing well. He's going to say that there are jobs. He's going to say that WASA is improving, that TN Tech is improving, that the country is getting better, that we've turned the corner. And what we need to hear from you is what the truth is on the ground. It's not only from the words of the MPs, but from your experience. You give us that ammunition. So we look very much forward to hearing from the head table, but most of all, to hearing from you. We want your truth to portray your truth in the parliament and expose the lies of the PNM. And then we will know what we need to do when you all put the UNC back in government and the Honorable Kamla Prasad-Bissessar as Prime Minister, how we should spend the budget properly to serve your needs. So thank you very much, and I will turn it over to the chair.
Thank you, PRO, Dr. Megu. Thank you very much. I just want to acknowledge several others in the audience. We have the former CEO of UDCOT, Mr. Kurt Ramlal, UNC communications official, and my great friend, Kivan Gibbs, and several others. Thank you all for being here again. Thanks to our audience on social media around the country and around the world. Let's start. We have a distinguished panel, and of course, as the PRO has indicated, this is about you expressing your views on the issues of the day. So we want to make as much time for you. But first, we bring on our first panelist, extremely well known. He's the current chair of the Penal Debe Regional Corporation, where he has done wonderful work, and he has blazed a trail against all the odds, against a lack of adequate financial resources in the midst of a dengue outbreak and so on. But he'll tell us all of that and much more. I ask that you put your hands together for Mr. Gautam Maharaj.
Thank you very much, Master of Ceremonies. A hearty good night to the beautiful people of Oropouche East. Let's hear it for the beautiful people of Oropouche East. Members of the head table, led by Member of Parliament for Oropouche East, none other than Dr. Rudal Munilal. And I also give thanks to the vision of the political leader of the United National Congress for giving a voice to the people, because your voice is the most important voice in governing a country. And the United National Congress, through the vision of its leadership, have found a way through these sessions to be able to take your voice to the hallowed walls of the parliament through the budget presentation. And that you must be very proud of, that democracy is at work. This is an organization that definitely preaches the voice of the people is the voice of God. I came through Lal Bihari Trace, so I will speak a bit on, what's nearest to you. Because I'm sure by the time I go back outside, my car, the shocks might be gone, the suspension might be gone, but I want to explain to you why. Because many a times, the councillors, right here we have many councillors here from the corporation. We have Councillor Kanhai, who is from that area. I will explain to you the situation, and it is only one example, Lal Bihari Trace, as to what occurred with regards to repairs to the road. The government had formed the Secondary Roads Company. Of course, it had formed it against many opposition voices in the sense that there were other agencies and ministries that were supposed to do that work. And the Secondary Roads Company reached out to the corporations and said, submit roads and we will take care of it, so that no allocation was given to the corporation for those roads. $62 million later, no work was done by the Secondary Roads Company in this region, and I don't know how much was done in the country, because today the said government has shut down that company because of many irregularities. So that is the reason Lal Bihari Trace was put up as #1 for repairs by the councillor. And today the corporation and the people of Oropouche East are left hanging, because now there was no allocations for it, and the Secondary Roads Company had taken responsibility for it and failed. And now, fortunately, for the goodwill of the PDRC, they are taking some of the material that we have just received for an entire year, an entire financial year since budget have been read. An allocation was given for materials, but was not released until this month. So in the 11th hour, when the financial year closes on September 30th, we are now given some releases for materials and for development projects. But fortunately, the Lal Bihari Trace will be the first road that will be tackled. So the people who use that conduit to Debe, the PDRC through the councillor, will be using the material releases that we have got now to fix that gap that the Secondary Roads Company has put us in. And throughout the region, we suffer from bad roads. And you would remember, in 2010, during that period to 2015, all roads were paved, roads that were back roads. In fact, the connector between Debe and Barakpur was during that period, and that boosted economic activity. In fact, the political leader always said that if you want to boost economic activity, you want to boost businesses, you must have transportation network to reach them. And that was ample evidence of how that worked well, because it was through that network where roads were paved and box trains were built that we had those connector roads being developed and used. What has happened since this government has taken over the reins? There has been no releases, very little for road repairs. Potholes are deep, 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 and wide and big. One councillor called it a crater. So you understand what has happened. We have received monies for the development projects, which is the box culverts and the box drains and so on, only this month. In fact, we are now hustling to do evaluation to be able, and we only received confirmation of funds. That is like somebody, you're thirsty, and somebody wave $1 in front of you. You say, yeah, look, you could drink some water with this. You could go and buy a Coke. You could buy a soft drink or so. You ain't getting money as yet. In fact, a stern letter was sent, right, from the ministry saying that if you do anything outside of that without getting that funds, you will be sort of on your own. So we have gotten the confirmation. We are moving forward. But the problem is, and I want you to understand this, because sometime later down the road, they'll say, we didn't do the work. That money is valid until September 30th, where we must complete that work and submit the invoices. And concrete takes 21 days to cure. So think of what the conundrum we are in with regards to bad budgetary and fiscal and financial management by the government. It's a total failure, that's correct. Members of the crowd are saying it, it's a failure. So we are still hustling in your interest to be able to see how we can do that. We are working night and day to be able to bring that to you so you can bring those infrastructural gains to the people. Moving on, I think my name has been associated with the fight against dengue. Because on June 6th, because Pinal Debe, and through the support of the council as chairman, I was the first to get off the blocks on June 6th and inform this country through mainstream media that we are in a crisis, that it has been declared by international organizations that there is an increase in the proliferation of the population of the Aedes aegypti mosquito, and dengue will be coming. And weeks pass, and now it is going into months, and there has not been an integrated insect vector management plan handed down to us. But to our credit, and for the love of the people, we started dynafogging on 2 shifts. We created a morning shift with 2 teams, an evening shift with 2 teams. And we started with whatever resources we had to be able to dynafog. 800 streets from La Romaine, one end of the region, La Romaine to Bronte to Queenham is the region, a very large region, including parts of Woodland. 60% of the region being in the South Oropouche River Basin. And we did dynafogging, amidst the minister saying that dynafogging is not the be-all and end-all and all of that. With his recommendation also, we said we will follow. That is to send out teams to be able to educate and to do cleanup and so on. But how can you do that without releases? Today as we speak, we have sent since a couple of weeks ago a recommendation, a proposal to have a fixed and focused team that will come and do the education drive, because we have 8 litter wardens to move through, to look at indiscriminate dumping, to look at all types of littering matters and all of that, overgrown lots. And I'll come to you quickly on overgrown lots. Recall there was a program, Cut and Clean, that lasted 9 days. 9 days, we submitted a list of a couple hundred overgrown lots, and I don't have a report as yet, so I cannot pronounce what percentage was done. But in 9 days, I'm sure not a significant amount was done to create any impact. That is what the responsibility of the Ministry of Local Government had taken. Getting back on now to the team, we have sent a proposal on your behalf to the ministry to say, give us money for being able to put together warm bodies on the ground and to be able to do cleanup and to do bulk waste management, send trucks and remove all of the garbage if this is what we want to do. We still don't have a response for tire. All tire management is still an issue because the swim call is not taking the tire. I understand, right? So that is all the way to Port of Spain. We must take those tires, and for quite a long period, that tire shredding and the service that Swimcall offered to the corporations has not been in effect. So you must understand the real challenge and why it is your inputs, your voice today is important, because it is these inputs that will form the opposition's response to the budget, which has for so long been allocations only. Allocations is like a promise, as I told you. That is like you wave the $10 in front of you, right? You're getting this at the budget time. But when the actual release comes, 0, 0, 0. This is how it has been. We have been in an uphill battle. With our bit of prudent financial management, we have been able to keep afloat and to do what we can do for you. And then the last issue is on crime. In the area of crime, we have also asked for an increase in manpower with regards to the police. We are supposed to have 100, and we have way below that. Yes, so again, we are in a situation where our inputs must reach the parliament in terms of the pressure and the pain that we face in penal debate here. Okay, so I think my time may be nearing up. I don't have a red light here normally, but I think I have given you a very good perspective. My last contribution before I go is in the area of employment. The Petrotrin has closed down, so it means that no area for apprenticeship training, none at all. The MIC in Debe, none, gone. Yeah, and when you look at what is happening, the number of children that are not completing the school, not completing with a full certificate, but are very capable of contributing to the society through woodworking, through hairdressing, through mechanic, through fixing of small machines, all of them have a place, and we want that the government should open in this region an apprenticeship school. So my call is definitely for the government to hear. It has been done in Port of Spain East, and you saw the Port of Spain East corporation formed to do apprenticeship, and the NTA and a private company forming something. We are saying there are people living in Oropouche East and in South Trinidad. We want you to open an apprenticeship school. We want you to give us the money for the dynafogging. We don't want to hear every week someone is dying, and yet still we call that normal. Declare that it is an outbreak stage, if that be the case, and give us the tools to fight. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chairman Mr. Maharaj. I want to ask for another round of applause for him. That was fiery and factual and a tremendous start to the evening proceedings. Now, I just want to touch on a couple before I bring on to the next speaker. I just want to touch on a couple matters. You would have heard, and Dr. Munilal will speak later, you would have heard he spoke yesterday and spoke about the absence of dengue testing kits. And what I'm also told is that the statistics that the Minister of Health has given are way lower than what the real figures are, because medical centers are not providing correct figures. As we meet this evening, the Prime Minister has diverted the national discussion on the issue of the coat of arms, but we must take note that the number of homicides for the year has now crossed 400, and there's no national discussion on that. We also have more Venezuelan refugees coming through. The local media has not been reporting on it, but the international media, and I'll quote some of them, the Miami Herald, the Washington Post, AP News, and so on, I've been monitoring and writing them myself. A number of these refugees are coming through from Erin to Cedras. So we have more refugees coming to put pressure on our health system, education system, transportation, and so on and so forth. I mentioned the dengue issue, and I'll talk a little bit about the Petrotrin. I've been writing also about the Petrotrin matter. We have this evening some of our colleagues and friends with some placards. I want to ask that you stand so I can read them aloud. And I want to thank you for your efforts in doing that, and I speak on behalf of everyone, including those on social media who may not be, well, I see Kivan is going to fix that, but just to indicate, let me read some of them. Install cable barriers to save lives. And for those who are not conscious of that issue, the absence of cable barriers between the highway lanes have led to several deaths, including 2 young men quite recently. Over 405 murders, and Rowley concerned with SHIP. Right. Latrine eradication by PNM. Next is PNM eradication. Oropouche East supports Stand Your Ground. Just lift it a bit, please. And the other, stop discrimination in hiring. My child study hard. And along with that issue, we have an issue with the cost of school books. Very high cost of school books. And when you see mothers, it doesn't make it right that mothers go and steal. But we have a huge crisis, and the government has just announced they're going to give out some grants before they start. Those grants don't go very far. There's a huge crisis in this country. There's a growing wealth gap and so on, but that is for our main speakers. I just want, before I bring on the next speaker, I want to acknowledge a national award winner in our midst, a singularly important and distinguished gentleman. He manages this very office, and he's known for many things. Mr. Joseph, ask for a round of applause. Now, while we talk about national award winner, let's move from one to another. Our next speaker, one of our featured speakers this evening, is Dr. Narendra Rupnarayan, who got a national award as far back as 1996. 1996, almost 30 years ago, he got a national award. He is a distinguished physician, and I have all of this to tell you about him. But everybody here knows him. He's distinguished. He has served our people. He is not only a tremendous medical scientist and doctor, but he's a man of the people. And so on, his mere presence here and speaking at this forum indicates all of that. Ladies and gentlemen, a hearty round of applause for Dr. Narendra Rupnarayan.
Mr. Chairman, members of the head table, our host, the Member of Parliament for Oropouche East, the Honorable Dr. Rudal Munilal, Chairman, Mr. Gautam Maraj, councillors, invited guests, and members of the audience. A very pleasant good evening, and thank you for that warm and kind introduction. It is truly my pleasure to be here this evening to share my feelings, ideas, and expectations on the upcoming 2025 budget, especially as a medical doctor and, I dare say, more importantly, as a resident of this southern area. Now, we all may know, health expenditure is truly a bottomless pit. You can constantly pour and place monies and resources into this pit and into this sector, and it seems like you cannot fill this because of its voracious appetite. Now, whilst it might be true that we have increased our budgetary allocation over the last few years from about $6.9 billion to about $7.9 billion, we have been faced with an ever increasing or growing demand, and the overall recurrent and new costs that are involved in sustaining the health sector cannot keep up with this growing demand. Now, this has led to a substantial stake of our how we consume this pie, this little pie that we have in terms of our budget. We've got less and less because of this. So, a bold new direction is essential to keep pace with the modern demands based on an increasing and aging demographic in terms of our population and the scourge of chronic diseases. We have to return to the basic mantra: an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, and understand in the growing and near future we have to do more with less. From a public health perspective, the greatest burden on the health sector would be the chronic diseases of hypertension, diabetes, obesity, right? And the latter is the one that's fueling the fire and quite literally tipping the scales in a manner of speaking. Now, I don't regret saying this, but I would admit, and Chairman would have said this talked about this before, the relevant authorities have to develop a better management system and avoid being as reactive as they are, and they should be more proactive, especially when it comes to the point, for example, like the dengue situation. It is all well and good that you tell us that we've been expecting a surge in dengue cases, and I ask, what measures have been placed to deal with this surge in cases from since April to May? I see that now they have recognized the magnitude of the situation and applied some added resources. A little too little, a little too late. And for this, we should still be a little thankful. But again, I ask for clarity tonight. What recent integrated, cohesive plan was in place to mitigate the rise in cases? Now, we all know, besides chemical application and the government's big stick legislative agenda and this application of punish, 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 was there an adequate application of health education and promotion, community participation, biologic control using certain species of animals and insects? Was there any prominent source reduction campaigns? I ask these questions, and I truly hope that these alternatives were explored adequately and not just given the cursory, empty lip service as we've become known for in Trinidad and Tobago. A simple cost-benefit analysis would have shown the need for a properly funded vector source plan to curtail not only the overall spending, but more importantly, the mortality and morbidity that is associated and that we've come to know with this dengue disease. Now, switching gears as such, in my experience, the Trinbagonian population have often an inadequate and poor quantity of knowledge, attitudes, beliefs, and perception when it comes to health, disease, nutrition, alcoholism, smoking, and now, and we'll see it in the future, the increasing issue of teenage vaping. Our basic health parameters and statistics are ignored, and I do not know if it is in our innate belief that God is a Trinity. I would have found this situation very hilarious and funny if it wasn't so serious. My next point, and I say this, and I always have to control my blood pressure when I say this because it hits a nerve whenever I have to discuss this next point. You know, the water or the lack thereof. Now, we're in the middle of a rainy season, and we always say water, water everywhere, and not a drop to drink. WASA is making some in this southern community choose between drink or stink. And we again implore the powers that be to please address this situation urgently. I would like to stick with these few points for now. These are my concerns. Now I would like to move on to my recommendations and wishes. Now bear this in mind. I do not envy the authorities and would like to express my gratitude for all that we've been previously given. And by no means is it a simple task to acknowledge the opportunity costs involved, especially with the complex nature of health and decisions that quite literally deal with life and death. With that being said, however, I have a few recommendations for the next budget. Emphasis on primary care as the base of the health pyramid and adequate funding on programs targeting chronic diseases are essential. With the successful implementation of these, the cost savings that will be involved would provide the best bang for a buck. Now, again, mandatory inclusion of a subject or syllabus with basic parameters and indicators of health in our school education curriculum. That is essential. We can also utilize the Form 4 to Form 6 students to propel a health drive in a coordinated dissemination of information to the general public as a whole and specific targeted groups like diabetics or the elderly as such with respect to properly curated health topics that would be part of their community service choices. Now, moving on. The public health messaging via ad campaigns. And when we say ad campaigns, we mean true ad campaigns that are simple, catchy, creative, affordable, replicable. They include a call to action. They have some smart targets and with an innate understanding of our special Trinbago circumstances. The next point, and again, is quite simple. Improve the water supply now, WASA, please. And finally, last but not least, a holistic approach to maintain the health status of the nation is needed, where we utilize the 3 A's: adopt, adapt, and apply. Community participation should be fostered by utilizing the existing network of NGOs, CBOs, and FPOs and properly providing the necessary support and funding for these to make it able, or for them to be able to disseminate health information not only to persons that need it the most, but in a manner in that how they would be best received. And with that, I conclude. I thank you all for your kind attention. Good night and God bless.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rupnarayan, for that very thoughtful and extremely well-researched and presented a contribution. Let's hear another round of applause for him. Now, did I get it right? $7.9 billion each year on health services. And the San Fernando General Hospital, my friends there who are in the medics and so on are saying that there's a chronic shortage of equipment, of drugs, medicine, pharmaceuticals, and so on. 7.9. I just want to take off, Doc, on one point you made there. One of the several, and I would strongly recommend you get that published, send it to the media, and so on. That's a tremendously well put together presentation. But he said that what did the Trinidad and Tobago health authorities do before we had this outbreak of dengue? Well, let me add a little bit to that, because something I researched. The Caribbean, CAFA is the name, Caribbean Public Health Agency, based in Port of Spain, Caribbean. They said last September, October, they issued a public statement. They said this is going to be a bad dengue season. So the regional countries must take steps. Several countries have researched it. Grenada, Guyana, all the little chain islands. Let me mention what Jamaica did. Jamaica's Prime Minister, Andrew Holness, went to the Parliament that Friday. He announced $331 million Jamaican funds to give to the local government authorities, like yours, Councillor, to stamp out the areas where you get mosquitoes and so on. He was very proactive. He also announced, and the doctor mentioned that, about a public education campaign. Public education is important. A lot of people are not conscious of that. Prime Minister of Jamaica did that. Because of that, Jamaica has a low rate. In addition to that, in Guyana and several other places, our Minister of Health spoke in the month of May, and they're shielding the figures. They're hiding the figures. The figures are significantly more than the 500 and so that they have given. Okay. Before I introduce the next speaker, another distinguished panelist, someone spoke earlier, I think Chairman of the PDRC, spoke about Petrotrin. Now, there's a new development with Petrotrin. You know what happened with the Jindal issue? They have shortlisted. They set up a committee, a 12-member committee, headed by a man named Vishnu Danpal, who was former PS in finance. You would have known Vishnu Danpal. So they're going to give recommendations. But they have a new company from Nigeria, which is shortlisted to be the #1 company. And they, I hate to tell you all, but they're on corruption charges too. The Prime Minister is aiming to make a statement sometime between independence and republic as another one of these so-called patriotic things. You see the PAN thing he did and emancipation and so on. So that's the next twist in the river, the next bend in the river, as Naipaul said, with respect to Petrotrin. Announcement of a company named Wanda, or something like that, from Nigeria, corruption over their heads, and so on. But that is the next twist, and he's going to say, we're going to create jobs in defense line communities, and so on and so forth. Anyway, let's move from health to talk, I imagine, about security, because we have an expert in security. He was a former police officer. He was former head of the legal department of the TTPS, the police service. He has been a practicing attorney for over 20 years. He's seen the law from upside down. He like Kamala Harris. He has seen it in all areas. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together for Mr. Gobind Haribasad.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Dr. the Honorable MP Rudal Munilal, the various councillors in our midst, Dr. Rupnarayan. Good afternoon, all. Let me firstly begin, notwithstanding the chairman having indicated that my task here is to speak about crime and security. I would wish to take a minute of your time to endorse the recommendations made by Dr. Rupnarayan. Most particularly that of a proper supply of drinking water within our community. So having said that, ladies and gentlemen, I will now begin my contribution. And there was just misconception that lawyers has talk according to how they paid. Dr. Munilal has no fees here. So, but that's just a misconception. For my residents, for my constituency, I could talk here whole night. Having said that, the first thing I want to state here tonight, and I want each and every one to put this somewhere at the back of their heads. We have a National Security Council in Trinidad and Tobago, don't we? We have a National Security Council in Trinidad and Tobago. And ladies and gentlemen, who's the chairman of that? Who is the chairman of the National Security Council? I wouldn't answer it. Only those who, but I asked Allah to put that song on the back of their head, because I'm coming there. I am coming there. And moving on, I want to read something from last year. As a matter of fact, before I go to the budget last year, I was stopping under 15 minutes of people. Yes. When you go on the National Security Council site, you would see it reads, the National Security consists of the Prime Minister's chairperson. I will not continue further with the AG and all of the other high-ranking officials doing sweet nothing. Let's continue further. The National Security Council is charged with the responsibility of monitoring matters relating to defense and national security and is serviced by a secretariat comprising staff employed to assist the council in the execution of its duties. So we have a national security. And why am I placing emphasis on it? We are going to come to that shortly. If you all were to look back at if I were to take your minds back to last year's budget, in the presentation of the budget, not the debate, in the presentation of the budget, among other things, the goodly minister said, and listen to what I am saying here, the illegal possession of firearms and ammunition have been fairly constant recording, and he went on to give some stats and blah, blah, blah. From the data, the roadmap for addressing our security and safety is as straightforward as it is distinctive. In light of the number of guns and illegal drugs entering the country, we are enhancing resource capacity and capability through the strengthening of border control capacity. Has that been done to date, ladies and gentlemen? No. Has that been done to date? Whereabout in Trinidad has there been a strengthening of any border control? Let's move on, please. He took it further. He didn't stop there. He took it further. Madam Speaker, to detect the importation of illegal arms, new modern scanners are being procured for the ports. Bonded warehouses and transit sheds. We have awarded a contract at an estimated cost of $90 million. $90 million for the supply, delivery, installation, and commissioning of 4 large-scale, non-intrusive inspection scanners for shipping containers, which we will deploy at the ports of Port of Spain and Point Disas. We expect that these scanners will be in place in 2024. Well, me, but we almost finished August in 2024. I know which 2024 they're talking about. I confirm with the goodly MP there. I say, I might have made a mistake. I don't really follow up what's taking place. But he confirmed nothing to date. And if my memory serves me correctly, and I'm certain the MP can and will support me on this, whilst I held the office of Director Legal Services at the Ministry of Transport, the Chinese donated 2 scanners. And under the then UNC administration, they started operations to install those scanners. But it is my understanding that subsequent to the departure of, well, the administrative change, things went haywire. Let's move on. Not only did they promise $90 million for those scanners, he went on. Furthermore, we have provided an additional $4.5 million for acquiring 16 handheld scanners. Have those scanners been purchased? Do we know? And if they have been purchased, are we getting results from them? Let's move on. He went on to say, Again, not in the debate, in his presentation. And I have my reason for speaking about guns and ammunition and scanners here, you know. And we would come to that. And I am maintaining my reason for saying Keith Rowley is the head of the NSC. He went on to say the TTPS Violent Crime Reduction Plan has its objective the reduction of murder, wounding, and shootings, and the detection and removal of firearms off the streets, the numbers of which are increasing as the criminal element is using modern technology to generate the manufacture of weapons in this country. Well, I know which part they set up a factory making gun and ammunition in Trinidad and Tobago. If anybody know, they could tell me at this stage. Doc, you know? Right? But they're talking about firearms now being you have nothing to say nothing. And I will now tell you why I place emphasis on Keith Rowley being the chairman of the chairman of the National Security Council, and I place so much emphasis on what was presented in the last budget as it relates to firearms and ammunition. Well, you know, recently there was that big stink regarding SSA. I want to read some stuff regarding SSA. And this is the Prime Minister talking. This is not Kamla Prasad talking. This is Keith Rowley talking here. I am authorized by the Cabinet to issue the following statement. And among other things, he went on to say, and very quickly, I know I have my 15 minutes, I planned it to go longer, but I might beg for 2 minutes more. He gave the functions of SSA, ladies and gentlemen. And for those of you who do not know, SSA is an organization created by legislation within Trinidad and Tobago. It is an organization created by legislation. It is, I can't describe it. It is an elite organization. You're supposed to be passing all kind of polygraph tests and this and that and the next to get in there. But here what happened with them. Here what happening with them now. The Prime Minister come in a briefing, a press briefing. What does he say? He outlined the roles and functions of SSA. It is too much to read here for you all. But very importantly, let me just read the important ones. Among other functions, to develop strategic intelligence and make recommendations to government on the formation of policies in relation to serious crime, to prepare crime prevention strategies, to disseminate information and intelligence to the services, to provide intelligence and analytical support for the appropriate and intelligence arms of services. Very importantly, to assist in identifying sophisticated criminal activity and those who engage in it. And I want to let you remember this in particular. I am placing emphasis on this particular function. To assist in identifying sophisticated criminal activity and those who engage in it. But here what happened after that? The Prime Minister come now and telling the people, here what he telling the people, instances of dishonesty and deception have also been discovered. And he's speaking about the SSA, a report that was produced on the SSA. The composition of a SSA agency delegation was authorized to travel abroad on official business, after which a non-employee of the agency was inexplicably inserted into the delegation in place of an employee who was approved for the delegation. So you send a civilian to do top government business there. But he went on further. Madam Speaker, in 2017, the agency purchased 8,000 rounds of 9mm ammunition, but by 2022, the amount purchased during the year was 100,000 rounds. Well, you see why I was placing emphasis on firearm and ammunition early? Because You study. I am not in any way condoning illegal firearms and illegal ammunition on our streets, you know. But you're placing emphasis on the small man with a little backpack out here and 2 rounds, but SSA buy 100,000 rounds. You say you bring detector to see what coming in the country, but the Prime Minister and Fitzgerald Hines never knew 100,000 rounds coming in the country. While arming itself, the agency did not disaggregate ammunition held for operational use from ammunition stored for the purpose of training in accordance with the international best practices. Similarly, whereas in 2016, SSA held, and here it is, a mere 24 firearms consisting of pistols or revolvers. Since 2021, the number of firearms held by the SSA increased to 103. To 103. So people who you hire to come and tell you who the criminals are, they're involved with criminal activities. That is what we are dealing with in this country, ladies and gentlemen. Different types of caliber, including, and hear what? Including military grade. Military grade. And you know, the goodly gentleman had the goal, in the capacity of chairperson of the National Security Council. Here the question he's asking in the parliament. Why would an intelligence gathering agency need 103 firearms of different types and caliber, and why would the agency in 2022 need 100,000 rounds of ammunition? That gentleman, in his capacity as the chairman of the National Security, is asking this question in Parliament. I would not say what I think of him. I would leave it up to you all. Moving away from the firearms and ammunition now. How much time have I again? 5 minutes? Moving away from the firearms and ammunition, I would not ask the attendees here to show, by way of hands, how many of you have been victims of crime in this country. I would venture to say, even if you yourself have not been a victim of a crime, you have a brother, a sister, a cousin, a nene, a this one, or that one, who is a victim of a crime, and one way or the other, you would have been affected. One way or the other. That takes us to another issue. Law enforcement. In all the Indian picture, all the Indian movies you're watching, when a man gets shoot or killed, they say, I want justice. I want justice. What is justice? How does one go about getting justice? What does justice entail, ladies and gentlemen? I'll tell you very briefly. It entails investigating the alleged criminal conduct by the alleged offender, gathering evidence of the crime, making arrests, bringing about charges in court. If they have defense attorneys, if they come by me, I might take the work I know, right? Raising defenses, conducting trials, rendering sentences, and carrying out punishments. The murder rate in Trinidad and Tobago is at its highest at this stage. The most important thing, if you make an arrest, if someone is suspected of murder and he's arrested, until a post-mortem on the body of the deceased is conducted, you can't charge a man. Because you don't know where he died from. The man could have died from a heart attack. Although he might get a stab wound, he could have died from a heart attack. I am certain several of us would have seen on the news recently the state of the Forensic Science Center. Somewhere back in December of last year, the Minister of National Security, Hines, he got a grant from the Chinese to build some new Forensic Science Center. You know, up till now, they can't say the date it is going to start. You know, up until now, they can't say the date it is going to start. So all the talk they're talking about firearm and prevention of firearm and effecting, when you look up a man with a gun, you have to send it to the FSC. You have to get a certificate of analysis. And if the Forensic Science Center is non-functional, where are we going from there, ladies and gentlemen? Simple, straightforward matters taken 4 and 5 years before the courts. Us Southerners here are well aware the San Fernando Magistrates Court, down since however long. Nothing is being done. Absolutely nothing is being done. It appears as though since COVID, they have been doing courts virtually and they are satisfied with that. Ladies and gentlemen, my recommendations would be brief as it relates to the police service. There are too many sections doing sweet nothing in the police service. Disband some of those sections and increase the patrols. That is one of the many recommendations I have. I know I have exceeded my time. I thank you all.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hari Prasad, for that detailed, thorough, and very passionate presentation. Thank you very, very much. Could we hear it again for Hari Prasad? You know, there's so many points he made and so many others he may have wanted to make. The issue of our porous borders remains a serious matter. I referred to it a while ago. And the American State Department and newspapers in the US are talking about that. Now, President Biden recently named a Venezuelan gang. It is called Tren de Aragua, A-R-A-G-U-A. You could go and Google it. It comes from, it is said to be Venezuela's most notorious criminal gang. And in fact, I have a CNN story here in which he says it's an emerging threat to the US. A CARICOM report a few months ago said that gang, Tren de Aragua, has a presence in Trinidad and Tobago. Nothing has been done. Quoted, there's a CNN story. There's a lot of, I think President Biden, because they are passing through various areas, including Trinidad and Tobago, and heading to North America. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for your presentation. For those who, we have a large virtual audience, we thank you very much for that. And we have a full room here. A number of other people have joined. I just want to acknowledge a couple. Marissa Prasad Prabhu, former deputy leader of the People's Empowerment Party, is here. We look forward to hearing you contribute this evening. We hope you will. Vijay Ramlal, prominent businessman, and several others, prominent business people, and others. One more time, before we bring on our next speaker, I want to read those placards at the back. So those who ask you to raise them. Over 405 murders and rowdy concern with ships. The Lion will fix roads and bridges. Usha, could you lift that? And Oropouche East calls for general election now. DL Singh, get dengue kits for San Fernando General Hospital now. In fact, there are no such kits at the hospital. We want security in Penal Debe, install cable barriers to save lives, and we've lost a lot of lives, including quite recently, and now the man who's aspiring to be the PNM's Chaguanas East candidate is saying that we have put out a prospectus and they're going to get people to bid and so on. That's after several people have died. Stop floods now. Oropouche supports stand your ground legislation. Stop discrimination in hiring process and so on. And whenever I read that, my child, it talks about my child, it comes across to me that other matter that I spoke about, the school books issue, where a lot of families are suffering on the eve of the start of the school term. Okay, thank you all very much. One of the posters says, the Lion will fix roads and bridges, the Lion. One consistent voice, there have been several consistent voices against the PNM for several years, both in government, where he was a trailblazer as a senior government minister, as a member of parliament, and as the leader of government business in the House of Representatives, in opposition where he represents the people of this constituency and he advocates the issues on a regular basis in the media, at public meetings, and so on. One of Trinidad and Tobago's vigilant advocates for justice, for fair play, for the working class, and for all the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Ladies and gentlemen, our host this evening is our next speaker. Let's hear it for Dr. Rudal Munilal.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ken. And thank you very much to all in the audience this evening for coming out to this very important meeting at the Debe Junction. I want to welcome all of you here and also welcome the bellman. Let's give him a round of applause here. And all those folks on the social media platforms that we are carrying live. In case you don't know, we also have a social media platform taking live to New York, Canada, Miami, London, and throughout North America. So let's give the people of North America a good welcome to our meeting. I want to acknowledge the presence of the chairman of the Penal Debe Regional Corporation, the very distinguished Gautam Maharaj is here. Our panelists, home-based, homebred analysts and an extremely brilliant attorney at law and former policeman in the service of Trinidad and Tobago, Mr. Gobind Hari Prasad is here. A son of the soil of Penal Debe from a very prestigious and illustrious family of public servants, medical doctor, Dr. Narendra Rupnarayan. All the councillors here I see, of course, Krishna Prasad Singh, Nicholas Kanhai is here, Shanti Budram is here, Avinash is here, Ms. Jaimongal is here. Kimraj, where are you? Yes, Kimraj is here. Ade? Kestan, of course, is here. Who else we missing? Hi, Gerard is here. Huh? Oh, yes. Kimi is here. Ravin is here. Ram Sewak. The chairman of the constituency, Mr. Raymond Suraj Bali, is also here. Executive members, I see Mr. Ganesh Ramdeen Indar is here. Sanka Prasad, Usha Ram Prasad. Who else? Only calling name and you know. But we have, of course, our activists, businessmen from this community. This evening, this meeting was really to get the views of the people. And I'm so happy that so many businessmen are here and businesswomen are here to share their views on the situation. Now, what is happening here is a very important activity. Inspired by our political leader, the Honorable Kamla Prasad Bisesa, and let's welcome the communication team, Kevan Gibbs, Dr. Kirk Nego, of course, and others. We are the only political party that engages the population in a discussion on budget, on policy. No political party in the Caribbean in opposition engage the people. And we do this because we value the views, the suggestions, the recommendations. And this is not a VAPS program that we just decide we want to come here tonight and meet and so on. When we were in government, I want to remind you, in case those of you forgot or you didn't know, we even went to people before the budget when we were in government and sought their views. What are the issues? What are the problems? When you're in government, sometimes you live in the sky. You don't know what are the issues affecting people. Sometimes you don't know what are the burning, pressing problems. And more importantly, sometimes you may not even have the solution. You depend on talking to people, getting their views. And that is why these interactions. We have had, I believe Kurt told me last night, we have had over 25 pre-budget consultations hosted by the United National Congress. And to tonight, while we are talking here, MP Barry Padarat in Princestown is hosting a similar event in Princestown. Tomorrow night, I think we have the final consultation at the leader's office in Siparia, Pinal Junction. And I tell the people tonight, listening, and those of you in the live audience, don't take this lightly. This is an important activity. Even when we enter government, and we will enter the government, we must at all times keep in touch with the people. Find out what are the issues. You know, I tell people, I have 4 university degrees, Dr. Rupnarain. It took me 13 years to get that. Huh? Sometimes it does take a fella 13 years to get 1 degree. It took me 13 years. I have read history, I've read politics. Do you know Eric Williams? Whatever we think of him and whatever we don't think of him. Eric Williams had this famous process. He used to have what is called the Meet the People tour. And Williams would leave Port of Spain and journey all over the country. Mayaro, Point Fortin, Arima. And he would go to meet, invariably, the constituency executives, but members of the community. And he would sit down and he would say, so what are the problems facing you now? Here's you. He used to talk like that. What are the issues? And then the people will come up. Although he named Eric Williams, they call him Bill. I was very close at some time in my life to Errol Mahabir, former minister, and Mr. Kamaluddin Mohammed, former minister. And you know, they gave me stories. They say when Dr. Williams go in the community, he will go in a particular locality and he would tell the people, what are the problems you're all facing here? What are the issues? What is bothering you? And the people said, Bill, Doc, Prime Minister, is road. Prime Minister, look, we don't have water. Prime Minister, look, we have no street light. Prime Minister, the young people here have no jobs. And he would listen. He would have his ministers and so on. And he would say, listen, we have to bring some relief. We have to try this. We have to try that. He was the Prime Minister like that. The only other Prime Minister would have done that is Basdev Pandey and Kamla Prasad Bisesa. When you go into a community, you ask the people, tell us. And you know, sometimes I tell people, there is grassroots intelligence. The people have the solution, you know. The 13 years in university don't bring the solution, you know. Them just bring about 3-4 pieces of paper. Them don't bring the solution, you know. When you go to ordinary people and you talk, they say, listen, if the bus don't pass this road and pass the next road, it will be more effective. If we decide we're busting out a road here, that could be effective. You see that bridge that break down 30 years, if we fix that, that could be more effective. The people give you the ideas. And that is important for governance. When we go around this country now for pre-budget consultation, you know, sometimes principals, teachers come up in these things and they say, listen, 8 years we're begging them to fix a school, and they haven't fixed the school. Repairs to toilet for children, repairs to a wall, repairs to the ceiling in schools. And today, they cannot repair schools. They cannot fix the cable barriers. I saw a poster in the back now. I just get jumpy when I see poster and think, I think it's something about me. But I noticed tonight I see a protest activity taking place. This is the first budget consultation with an anti-government protest. So give yourself a round of applause. The people have a placard, fix the cable barriers. 2 young boys in these areas, I think, within the last month or so, run off the road near C3. Both dead, died. We had the horrible experience of going to the funeral and so on. Now, had there been cable barriers, it is likely that they will have run off the road but not died. When we ask, why are you not doing this? We say, they say, no, we are doing no cable barrier. They have a big word that's described. We're doing blocks or something like that. Well, we ain't got no cable barrier. We ain't got no block. We ain't got nothing. 2 dead. A young girl, 8-year-old girl, Nalisa Narain. I think they call she Dolly. 8-year-old girl who could have gone on to live her life, been anything she want to be. She did. Dengue, most preventable. Dengue is preventable. I was at the union last week, Nuge in Port of Spain, where representatives of the Ministry of Health, the union representatives, told me, they said, look, they don't have enough materials, enough chemicals, they don't have manpower. They would like to spray, what's it called, defogging and so on. They would like to do that, they want to do more. But they don't have the chemicals, they don't have the manpower. They showed me a video, I haven't shown it yet, of small amount of chemicals in a shop, in a house or an office, in a pigtail bucket on the step. They said that's all we have for the whole country. These people cannot protect you from a mosquito. You think they'll protect you from bandit? Huh? So but these are small cost items. Nobody could tell me that it will cost $1 billion to get chemical to fight dengue, to hire a few people more. Nobody could tell me that. That's small, that's not significant. Nobody could tell me cable barriers will take $500 million. No. No one can tell us that the critical problems facing us are expensive to fix. They are cheap in the scheme of things, but they will not do that. They're concentrating on removing 3 ships from the coat of arms. Now, they might put the 3 ships in the Coast Guard down Shagarama, sir, and park it up like how they park up all the boat. That is the concentration. Now, nothing is wrong with symbols. Symbols are important. But what is important is to fight crime, prevent flooding, fight dengue, ensure that you have roads, that you have drainage, that you have water. Imagine in this little island, we cannot even get water. When it rains, everywhere does flood except the Wassa Dam. Or you ever think that there's some problem in the country? Anybody ever see a newspaper report it rained for the last 2 days and the Wassa Dam overflowed? Wait till the rain don't fall in the dam. That's a dam disaster. So, that's the dam Port of Spain. They say in Port of Spain, if rain set up, it flood. And let me tell you something, if you see one dark cloud in Port of Spain, you run out of Port of Spain there. You don't want to be there. That is where we reach as a country. And when the time comes, election is upon us, we are within the year of election. Whether it come in November, December, next year, whenever, election is here. We can't say no. Rowley come now and he said, we constitutional reform. So he wanted to tell the people, we couldn't fix crime, we couldn't give you jobs. How much jobs they created? Which industry? Which sector? No jobs for the young people. There are young people in this country, they come to see me in my office, they have degree, they have paper, they have qualification. Huh? A fella come to see me the other day, he come with all the papers, I say, where's all that? He said, boss, I have a BSc, I have a MSc, I have a LLB. I said, the only thing you don't have is a JOB. That's the only thing he didn't have, a JOB, a job. They tell us constitutional reform, man. People don't have job, they don't have water, they don't have security. You said they have nothing to show, so they come with this gimmickry, they come with gimmick. They say constitutional reform. Now we're going to say, okay, don't worry, all your children dead for murder. Don't worry, you don't have water in the tap. Don't worry, dengue kill all your children. We get the coat of arms changed. So when you push your trolley in the supermarket and the bill comes 700, 1,000, whatever the bill comes, tell them, listen, me have no money, but we have a new coat of arms. That is where we are. These people, I tell people, I say, listen, I born on a Tuesday, but I didn't born last week Tuesday. But I born on Tuesday, but not last week. They have nothing to show. They have no track record. They have no performance record. So they come now to tell you the coat of arms change. Feel proud. Huh? But I tell them they beat them. You know the Labas in Beetham is named after Beetham. That's an old British colonial, what they call, war governor? Yeah, Ken Ali is a major man of history. He's a governor. A British colonial governor named Beetham. I think we should change that to the Rowley Labas. Localize it. Localize that. He wanted to throw away the 3 boats from the coat of arms, like Christopher Columbus. But he is Christopher Rowley. But you ain't go in the Red House and change his name. Go in the Red House and change your name. Take off Columbus and Christopher and thing, because, I mean, all like colonial business. But he is doing that as a distraction. That is a distraction so that you don't talk about crime. The banner in the back of the placard I'm reading, it says 405 murders. By now it's more. By now it must be more. Because when you talk about a murder, when you're talking about the murder, there's a next murder. When you open the newspaper, you say, somebody killed, front page. Page 2, somebody buried. That is what 405 murders and Rowley concerned with ships. Well, at least I think it's ship. I have all my glasses. I hope I am misreading that. So, that is the state of the country. And the budget is coming, but I want to tell you tonight that the budget will not save them. The budget will not save them, Bellman. It will not save them. Today I was speaking to a few people before preparing myself for tonight. And he said, boss, this is the first time we see election coming with an election year. There is no infrastructure work. There is no planning. There is no development. There is no activity taking place. Nothing is happening in this economy. The economy collapsed. They closed down Petrotrain and the refinery here in South. Every time election come, they talk about we go get them, refinery operator. Go out and we get him. Last time they given the OWTU. Now they bring some fella from India. He himself in so much trouble with corruption and thing. Jindal. They bring him now for the refinery. Well, he go on his way too. Now, the refinery has been closed down since when? 2018? If you plug on that refinery, you go blow up San Fernando. The chances are you might blow up San Fernando if you plug on that. That's 6 years now you close down that. You come in to say, we'll open that now. Jobs. Stuart Young, that fella does go Venezuela once a week. We only know he go Venezuela because when he talk, he does say I was in Venezuela yesterday. He goes to Venezuela once a week. I asked him, I said, brother, if I have to go there, you could give me the little room there's use or something, your apartment or something. Because you live in there. He can't stay in a hotel every week. He must be living there. I don't know if his daughter who was in some trouble or something, studied in Venezuela or something, and he have an apartment and he living there. And that means as well that they may be doing that. But he goes every week and he said, drug and gas, everything. They want to tell the people who cannot understand, drug and gas coming, the economy will pick up. Listen, I want to tell all this. In the whole sea between Trinidad and Venezuela, they may go on there with a screwdriver yet. The drill. They ain't going with a hand drill. That will not happen in the next 10 years, maybe more. Drilling in the sea, in deep water for gas and so on, is something that takes years. The key stakeholders in that project have not even signed. But they come to tell people because they feel everybody fail common entrance now. They feel everybody fail common entrance. They come to tell people, drug and gas, we're getting rich from that. That is a big project, it's coming on. While that coming on, no partner in that, no stakeholder has signed. That will not happen in this area for the next 10 years, possibly 15 years, if it is to happen. So constitutional reform, a red herring. Coat of arms, distraction. Because they have no solution to the problems. They appointed Keith Scotland. I know Keith Scotland, I see him wrong and thing here and there. He moved from the coal pot to the fire. He will not solve anything. They will not solve any problem in this country. So when they are doing that, they understand that they have to fool people because it's an election. When they come to the budget, all you hear what I telling all you. In the budget, you'll hear big money passing for this, for that, for the other budget. $60 billion money. and nothing will happen. When we look at the documents over the years, sometimes this fella, Rohan Sananan, come there with the budget, and we look at the expenditure. They pass $100 to fix something. They must spend $90. We say, what happened? He said, that was a problem. We didn't hire people in time. So nothing is done. Even if they have a program to fix road, to fix bridge, to fix infrastructure, fix dredge, river and so on, nothing happens. And that is because when you put the worst people to run the country, you will not get results. And I want to tell you, there are prime ministers who came before, including prime ministers from the PNM. Eric Williams, Patrick Manning, Clearly, Pandey and others, Mrs. Prasad Bises others. If you have to run your country, you need the best people to run your country. And I say without, I don't say it in a bad way, but Williams from 1962, and saying whatever all you think of him, he also had some good people. You have to get the best and brightest people to run your country. If you don't have the best and the brightest, you cannot develop. You cannot. What Rowley have here? That is scrap iron. When my father retired from PTSD, Gautam, Papi used to get up every morning and say, "Where you going so early?" He said, "Plenty work to do." He retired now. He go in the back and he move all his scrap iron from the left and he bring it to the right. Papi wake up again 2 weeks later and say, "Where you going so early?" He said, "Plenty work to do." He move all his scrap iron from the right and he put it on the left. The whole life he moving iron from the left to the right and all his scrap in the backyard. This is what happened in the government. When they reshuffle the cabinet, is really moving scrap iron. They don't have the capacity. They cannot perform. And that is where we are. So we have to take an intervention. You'll hear much more about that in the days, months, and years. Not years, but in the months ahead, because we are in an election year. So I want to thank all of you for coming out. We have a very important aspect now. We expect to hear from you some of your suggestions, your ideas. We are taping this meeting. We have on tape, not for the CIA, but we have on tape. We want to get your suggestions, recommendations, and I want to assure you that when you make recommendations in meetings like this and the other 25 meetings, these recommendations find their way into the parliament, into the speech of the leader of the opposition and others, so that we know that your recommendations are solid and we put it in the parliament and elsewhere to implement. So tell us the problems, tell us your solutions, what you feel are bothering issues. I know in this area some of the issues. I know there are many of you who have good recommendations. We want to get it on tape tonight and hear from you. We will respond at the head table as far as we could respond. But sometimes you will make recommendations. There's no response necessary, but to take note. So thank you all. God bless you and thank you for coming out.
Let's hear it again for that rousing address by Dr. Munilal. Okay. We are, as Dr. Munilal says, we are at this important point where we get your input. Now, Shamaine, who is managing time this evening, tells me that we allow each speaker 2 minutes. So we ask you, all those who want to contribute, come forward, just indicate your name and the general area from where you're from. Speak for around 2 minutes. We're very time limited. And so we want to get as many contributions as possible. So while we organize, do we have anybody yet? Now, there are several points Dr. Munilal makes. If we have anybody, just come forward here. And I just want to tell this story quite briefly before you're the first speaker. All right. So just let me tell this story briefly. Dr. Munilal makes the point about Dr. Williams, who used to have these Meet the People tour. All right, could we?
Long line.
Yeah, okay. Let's hold it there for now, and we get more. All right. So let me bring you first speaker. No, let me finish this little story. So Dr. Williams used to have the Meet the People tour, as Dr. Munilal said. So Dr. Rowley now feels that he must go out and meet the people too. So the other day, he got his team, his driver, to take him into his constituency. And he pulled up in the constituency, he stepped out and he said, what problems you all have in this constituency, in this area, what is the problem? And they said, boss, we have 2 problems in this area, 2 problems. Sorry, tell me the first one first, let me deal with that. He said, boss, you see that Carnage Health Center? They have no doctors, no nurses, no supplies, no trolley, people dying on the precincts and so on. So, and he said, D.L. Singh, this Carnage Health Center have no doctors, no nurses, people dying, the thing really bad here, deal with that. And he went on for a little while. And after he said, all right, I deal with that problem, that Carnage Health Center. What is all your second problem? And he said, boss, over here we don't get no cell phone service. Okay, on that note, we invite our first contributor.
Good night, everyone. My name is Jessie Munilal. I'm from San Fernando side. And I'm here with Raven Ramsam. All right? I'm here to talk about mental health, the issues with mental health, because my husband suffered from mental health, severe depression, because after the COVID, he lost his job. And he went into financial difficulties, and up to this day, he is still riding. No improvement. It's a very stressful thing for the family. So, a little recommendation here. I believe that more could be invested in mental health and the issue it may cause to our loved ones and their lifestyle. Even their ability to support the family. This is because my husband is affected by this depression. Financially, it is not nice. We're not in a good spot with the children and the bills and everything around. But it's not just depression, it's anxiety and all the other issues that comes with it, because the family have to deal with all this thing that the head of the home is going through. Anxiety, anger, emotional instability. All these are issues that are very much prevalent in our society today, because a lot of people suffer with this same thing, have the same problem that they don't talk about really. A lot of men especially don't talk about this, they don't address this, because they feel that, I don't know what it is, right? These illnesses are contributing factor to these issues. Robbery, domestic violence cases, suicide, divorce rates, unemployment. These illnesses this is a very real thing. Ensuring that the public is very much aware of these illnesses, the signs of detecting them, the effect it may have on someone you loved, and how to cope and assist that person that is affected. If we are not aware of what to look for, then how can we as a society treat and cope with it? How can we help that person or that family that is going through this? If the right investment isn't made through the Ministry of Health, then we will continue to label persons as lazy, because it's a stigma. When you suffer from mental health and you it's something that you have no control over. They might think it's easy, but you have no control over this. You might say they're lazy, and this will remain unsolved as if the Ministry of Health don't do something about it. Whilst counseling are offered at the health centers, that is not enough. Not everyone is able to go to the facilities that are available, because the health centers are not really helping much. They just send you to San Fernando, and San Fernando, they ain't doing much either. And it's a touchy subject, it's a form of discredit these people, and they need to give more privacy to these persons who need this help. And my wish is for more to be invested into mental health awareness for all. Thank you.
I just want to step in briefly to thank her for courage in raising that point and to say it's a very, very serious health issue in this country, Doc. You would acknowledge that. And it's caused by all kinds of things: poverty, malnutrition. A United Nations agency said we have a serious malnutrition problem here. Crime, when people, facing extortion and so on. We've had oppression too, and repression and so on. And we've had issues recently, alleged, people chopped up family members and things who are on mental health issues. And it's an international thing too. Those who follow cricket would have seen Graham Thorpe, successful British cricketer, play for England, Graham Thorpe, who is had serious depression. He tried to kill himself before and he didn't succeed, and he went and he stood in front of a train and he died this time, and that happened last week. So depression is a serious issue. Ma'am, I thank you very much on behalf of everybody here for speaking, and I ask that we advocate that issue nationally, not only in budget but in every other speaking opportunity that is relevant. Next speaker.
Right. Good evening, everyone. Member of Parliament for the Oropouche East constituency, Dr. Rudal Munilal, members of the head table, Chairman and Vice Chairman of Penal Debe Regional Corporation, local government representatives, and residents of Penal Debe. Good evening. So my name is Raven Ramstork. I'm the councillor for the electoral district of Palmas Hermitage, and more importantly, a resident of Penal Debe, and Debe in particular. So the issue that I want to raise this evening, and hoping that can be addressed through Parliament, is with regards to the Palmas Park. Now, if you don't know where Palmas Park is located on SS Arian Road, where I would say the Philippine area. Now, Palmas Park is classified as a national park. The ministry has declared this, cabinet has declared this, right? So if you visit Palmas Park, you would see sewage, you would see a broken jogging track, because if you walk there, you might sprain your ankle. You ain't sure you could see where you're walking, because if you ask the mayor for Palmas Park, Mr. Sergio, the street light's probably not working, and I wrote a letter to and take about a month ago. I still don't know if they fixed that yet. You drive around Palmas Park, well, you're sure to see more cars parked around the park than fencing. Those are just some of the issues that Palmas Park have. So I want to clear the air on something with regards to Palmas Park, because a logical thinking person will think, well, it's in Penal Debe, so it falls under the Penal Debe Regional Corporation. Oh, I mean, I'm glad you assume so, but it doesn't. That actually falls under the Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry Division. We say Forestry Division, right? But Ministry of Agriculture, right? So back then, probably in 1998, at one point in time, the regional corporation was responsible for maintaining the park, but it still remained vested in the Ministry of Agriculture. Now, in March 2011, Cabinet Note number 859, approved by Cabinet, they appointed a board, a committee, because if you pass by the park, you'll see a sign, maintained by Palmas Park Committee. Now, this committee was set in place to last for 2 years. And take note of the date, 2011. That would have been when the PP government was governing Trinidad and Tobago. So that would have been done by the Honorable Mrs. Kamala Prasad-Bissessa and her cabinet back then, Dr. Rudal Munilal, because it falls under his constituency. So that's since back then, right? Now, of course, we're not in government anymore. So you check that from 2013, because that committee was set to remain there for 2 years, right? So since 2013 to 2024, no committee is active in maintaining Palmas Park. But remember, it still falls under Ministry of Agriculture. So if you do a little digging and you ask who maintains any park, agriculture will say, well, we're not responsible for that. We have no workers there. But you see, passing Palmas, you're seeing people maintaining the park. So I did a little digging, of course. I spoke to some of the contractors, and I found out that they're being paid through rural development. So they're being paid through other ministry to maintain an asset of another ministry. All right, all well and fine. So what exactly is the role of Ministry of Agriculture in this? Well, God alone knows, because I had a meeting recently in May with consultations of various officers with regards to Parliament's Park and the B incident that occurred there, right, with reopening the park. Now, I brought the attention of the committee to the representative of the ministry to relay this information to the minister, where in August, nothing has been done since then. Of course, I'm passing this information on to Dr. Munilal so he can raise this in Parliament. But what are we doing about Parliament's Park? I saw recently, just a couple days ago, I know I'm running out of time, that a park in Burt Athlete Park in Belmont, for those of you who don't know, is going to receive a facelift. Now this is coming free of charge from the China Railway Construction Corporation. All well and fine. What is being done about Parliament's Park? So I'm calling on the minister to address the issue with the committee. One, and lastly, before I close, is that I was surprised and actually kind of happy at the same point in time, but angry when I saw Minister Kazim Hussain giving away keys to vehicles for pre-Nala City Squad. I was sad and angry because while he giving away key, I wanted him to give away his position so that somebody else can do his job for him. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Kivan has advised that our stream ends in 30 minutes. So we have several voices to join. We ask you to stick to the 2-minute limit, give your name, a rough idea where you're from, and make your presentation. Motley?
Evening, ladies and gentlemen. Name is Ashmar Mohammed Motley. Welcome, everyone. My story this evening is a little bit off from what you all have in store. My son was kidnapped 4 months ago. I'm a farmer/businessman, and up to this day, no one has given me an answer. The day when my son was kidnapped, I would like to say thank you to Dr. Rudal Munilal, Bush, Indar, Raymond, Zanka. You all was there for me. One thing I would like to touch on this evening is agriculture. What is the government doing about agriculture? Are they really serious? How could they feed our nation when no one pays no attention to the farmers? Let's use Rahamat Trace as an example. Just last week we had one vehicle with an axle falling out there, and Areka had to come and rescue that person. Dr. Munilal, I would like you and your team to look into something like this. Secondly, let me ask anyone who is serious about agriculture and who is a farmer here, when last they had received a subsidy check from the government of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. Because I myself had 2 claims for the past 2 years and received not a dollar. How could a farmer replant the land when there is no subsidies after a flood? One, WASA said they're responsible for the water. 2, Ministry of Agriculture said they are responsible for the land. Who is really going to pay? Could someone really ask me or tell me what is it happening? Dr. Munilal, please, as a father to David and the David Penal David area, please help us. I have a lot more to say, but my time is very limited. Thank you. Have a good night.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Andreina Perez. I am from Venezuela. I come in representation of the Venezuelan people. The first is why the government not give the chance for the children go in the school. Not the, it says everyone go in the school because, in general, because I have family here illegal and no cannot go in the school, the children. I have about 5 years here. I received the permits work only for work, but I not receive nothing benefit here. I know after the 5 years, any country, the people receive a license, everything the people need. I come in this country because everyone know Venezuela right now has too much problem. But I am professional in Venezuela. I am accountant. Right now, I come in this country because I want better life, better work. This country. Maduro, I need this country need help for Venezuelan people, all Venezuelan people, not for only the Venezuelan legal. I need help because before, when Venezuela good, Venezuela opened the hand for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much for telling your story, and I wish we could have heard more, but wish we had more time for that. But thank you very much for making the contribution, sir.
Honorable Dr. Rudal Munilal, members of the head table, all protocols observed. May the peace and blessing of Almighty God be with us today for allowing us the opportunity to come and share our views. I hope and pray that sooner rather than later we get rid of the taxing lion PNM government. My name is Inshan Dubri. I live at 61 Kochan, West Devi. The constituent of Oropouche East is very concerned about property tax, number one. It is unfair for those who have assessment, ridiculous assessment, and have to pay by the 30th of September of this year. How can you tax some of the people and tell them you have to pay by the ending of September when you did not roll out the whole country? So what I'm saying technically is that probably you do 10% this year, and maybe the next 90% you do next 10 years. Is that fair? We all are taxpayers, and we need to get better service than that. Point number one. Point number two, I'm a patient at the Debe Health Center. For the past 4 months, I've been moving from health center to health center. Debe, Princestown, Pinal, Pleasantville, Point Fortin, Larmin, to get basic drugs like Daflon 500, I mentioned it to Dr. Munilal, and Aprovil 300 and others. None available. And we're spending so much money on healthcare, we're boasting about healthcare. Recently, I see a clip on the TV that where this health minister want to charge people, the government want to charge people for not keeping the surroundings clean. But did you all see the clip where the insect vector control have the probable state with breeding mosquitoes? Point number three, I live in, as I mentioned before, I live in Kuchawan West. We, the villagers, have to dip deep down in our pocket to find money monthly to pay for a security guard to look after us. Is that fair? No. We have a police force here, and the people are asking, is this a part of our revenue stream? You'll find them early Sunday morning, people giving people ticket, park up in junction here to take up power to the car. Is that fair? How can we live in a society like that, that the police here to protect us and squeeze in your Dr. Mullah, come on, we have to do something better than that. I was able to open the part of the people to open the post. And I mentioned to the Assistant Commissioner Sagram Singh that we have to build relationship with the police. You can be given ticket left, right and center. It's so much more to talk that time do not permit. I hope and pray that these notes are taken together and when we form the next government, we eliminate all that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Before I bring on the next speaker, I wish to welcome the Honorable Ravi Ratira, Member of Parliament for Cuba North, Thank you for being here. Next speaker.
Good evening, everyone. Member of Parliament, Mr. Munilal and his team, head of table, all the councillors. I want to say something that affects the community here, resident of Debe and a citizen of Trinidad and Tobago. My issue is about the flooding that takes place in Debe. And before I go there, I want to say that the most competent government or superlative government that ever passed through the history of Trinidad and Tobago, it speaks for itself here. This was one of the best in the history that I have known. And for the government, for this present government we have here, they apparently have some issues within themselves that they become incompetent of doing what they have to do. We have flooding that is taking place in Debe because it has been growing with commercial and residential. And also they have development that's being taken place in which that when an average rain is fall, the road's level of water increasing now rather from the years that have gone by. Which means to say that the adequate drainage that they have that was existing from the years past has to be refurbished and widened and deepened in order to accommodate the capacity of water that is coming down there. Because the average rainfall rises the water, and I have noticed that from the past years gone by, I live in Chester Street, and Chester Street has a flooding problem inside of there. And even though in the Debe Trace, the water is rising and coming into Chester Street where it normally would have never been. When I look at it carefully, I find that the river, the Gucharan River, needs to be cleaned and cleared, and works need to be done for restoration. And also, the capacity of water that is being in that particular Debe area that is being impassable in an average rainfall, the drainage needs to be cleaned and cleared to make it more passable at a quick time in order for vehicles to come in with the family. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much. Well said and in quick time. We appreciate that. Next speaker.
Hi, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed panel, Dr. Rudal Munilal. I was invited here by Mr. Munilal and also Councillor Gerard. Where I live is Wellington Garden, Debe. And from a standpoint and looking on, we see that there's a total failure of infrastructure in that little HEC development right there, right now. When I say that, there are so many issues that we need to talk about, but I'll mention the issue of dengue in our village. Just last month, we had a death of a mother who had 2 kids, right? She walking around the village trying to gain employment, right? And she contracted dengue and died, right? The root cause of this is because we have poor drainage in our community, right? HEC we have written numerous letters to HEC to come and clear the drains. Nothing like this is happening. Right now, there's lots of members in our community that is sick and they are not working. So that it brings back to the things that you're working, you have to get school coming up, you have to get books and all these things ready for your children, and how this is happening. How it is we going to let this happen, right? So we are faced with other issues, but as I say, we will express those issues in a further note, right? We hope that we get some redress and somebody hears us, right? Because we, as I said, we have write letters to HDC. People are leaving their homes right now in that community because of no response, right? Homes are dilapidated so much that the yards they have flooded out, right? The roads impassable sometimes. You remember there's a little village there, and a little village like that, we can't get no assistance. That's not nice. We need assistance. We as people too, right? In closing, we hope that this reach, as Dr. Rudal said, it reach the correct people and we get these assistance. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, we are winding down. Time is running out on us, but we invite our next speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you very much for the hardworking Oropouche East Constituency Executive for facilitating this budget consultation here this afternoon.
that gives us, the ordinary residents and citizens within the community, to share our views and discuss some of the issues that affect us on a daily basis. Mr. Chairman, my entrepreneurial journey started off 45 years ago by selling mango at a supermarket in Ramai Trace in Debi. My 45 years of experience in business has convinced me that entrepreneurship and business is an activity that, when conducted with the right tools and technique, can yield significant hope and promise to the growth and development of an individual, a company, and therefore a country, and anyone who is interested in doing that. But we must have an enabling environment to do that. Mr. Chairman, an enabling environment was provided to me 45 years ago by a gentleman by the name of Jawala Pasad from Ramai Trace in Debi. Today, Mr. Rupnarayan spoke about two important economic tools, technical analysis. One was the cost-benefit analysis, and the other one was opportunity cost. For the last 8 years, when I have done the cost-benefit analysis as a taxpayer in this country, I have paid so much tax, and there was absolutely no benefit. No benefit in terms of infrastructure. My brother just now spoke about flooding, etc. And it is so difficult to do business in this country today. We speak about the ease of doing business. I have been waiting for the last month to get annual return to give to my bank manager so I could secure a loan. 1 month I have been waiting to get an annual return so that I could give my bank manager so that I could secure a loan to help me from the losses that I have had in my business for the last 8 years in this country. For the last 6 months, my business has been broken into on 2 separate occasions, and almost $200,000 was lost. My monthly wages that I have to pay for security in this country is $350 per officer. By 2 officers, which is $700 by 30 days, is $21,000 I have to pay for security to manage my business. And lo and behold, the time that they broke into my business, bandits tied up the 2 security officers and went in there because they had firearms. Today, I am asking the government and I'm asking Dr. Munilal to advocate on behalf of businessmen in this country that we are responsible people. Empower us with firearms. Empower us in such a way that we could defend our own selves, that we could manage our own staff, and let our staff stand up with firearms and defend our business and our community. On a daily basis, people are scared. When we do the cost-benefit analysis as to why our revenue stream has dropped, we have recognized that customers are scared to come to purchase at our business. When we think that our growth strategy will include opening longer hours because of the immense traffic, we recognize that they say, no, we want to be home by 5 p.m. in the afternoon. So even that strategy cannot work. So, Mr. Chairman, I would like my honorable MP, and I have confidence in the Lion. I have confidence in the Lion that he will advocate on my behalf and the businessmen behalf in this country to protect ourselves. My second point, and I know Sherman is making it very quick for me, is the huge disparity in the allocation of foreign exchange. Everybody knows, and if you look at the supply-demand theory, everybody knows that when there's more supply in the market, the prices drop. Tomatoes is high, according to Motley. When we have flood, there's no supply. So I am saying that if we have new entrants supported, and that enabling environment, Mr. Chedi, we are speaking about, if new entrants and new entrepreneurs who are coming into the business field is supported in a fair manner in getting forex, they can have an impact in bringing down a lot of prices. I have a brother who is bringing in foreign used cars into this country, and his network allows him to sell almost 30 cars per month. But because he's stifled in getting foreign exchange, he can only bring 2. But you have other people on the other side who is getting foreign exchange and can sell you at the rate of 8 to 1. So if we want to do business and new entrants in the business environment want to do business, we have to pay 8 to 1. And who are we going to transfer that extra cost to? I don't want to take that jamming partner. It has to go to the consumer. So Mr. MP, again, I would like to advocate for fair practice in the dissemination of foreign exchange to businessmen in this country. Another and last topic, Sir Chairman, give me 1 minute again. Another and a last topic I would like to discuss too is adding value and adding asset to the family network. I operate in 3 businesses in this country. One is what we call the fast-moving consumer products. The other one is an entertainment industry for Splash Water Park. And the third one is in the construction sector that is almost dead into this country right now. Absolutely, absolutely dead. Every businessman in this country knows that when you build asset, your asset can bring revenue back to you, right? DB Penal, and I'm sure that the chairman of the Penal DB chamber could agree with me, DB Penal is the best place in this entire country today. And with the new chairman and his team that we have here, I can guarantee you that our standard of living is going to increase in a couple of months, if not a year from today. And I am saying that if my brother who lives next door to me, who have 4 children, and he wants his family to live with him, why does he have to go around the place looking for 4 lots of land to build houses for 4 different children? Why can't we change and amend the building laws in this country so that the people in Penal Debe could build 4 stories? Why can't we build 4 stories in Penal Debe when we have 5 miles at South Park? There's a huge tower that went up with 7 stories. And with modern technology and construction technology, all of us understand that if you have a particular building that has to go up on a particular parcel of land, we have engineering skills in which we could design the foundation to take 7 and 8 and 10 stories. So we have one family living on the same building, security becomes more stronger, and you add value to community. You have value to community, but you see, my good friend Nicholas Khan, I spoke about demographic discrimination. Demographic discrimination means that if you vote for UNC and you're living in Penal Debe, crapo smoke your pipe. And I am asking again, humbly requesting the Honorable MP to please advocate to add value to our community. Time is against me. I wish I could speak a little bit more longer, but thank you all very much.
Thank you very much. We join us here for him and for all our speakers so far. Very, very relevant points made, very articulate and very passionate. We have several other people who would want to contribute. Time is not with us, so we'll make this speaker our final speaker for the evening. Her name is Marissa Prasad, and she was a deputy political leader of the People's Empowerment Party. We're very honored to have her this evening, and we invite her to make a contribution.
Hi, good night, everyone. So, you finally got the name correct. Although you got the party wrong, it was the Progressive Empowerment Party. I was the deputy political leader. I was also against Dr. Munilal as the shadow MP. Which is a joke now. So, all protocols are observed. Good night, everyone, again. My correct name is Marissa Prasad Parbu, and I live at Diamond Village. Now, some of you may know me as an activist, as well as the chairman for a few prominent NGOs in our community, and some larger ones in Trinidad and Tobago. I've also been around the political arena just a bit. Now, I am here to discuss women's rights and the difficulties we have been facing in our business community. I, as a person owning several businesses, especially in real estate, we have been putting ourselves in danger every single day we are out there. In the first place, we have to come out there, and sometimes we meet the pretenders, the scammers. They just want to hear what you have to offer, and when you go to the site, they have nothing else. We have nothing else to gain. That's one thing. But on top of that now, for our safety as women, we have no safety in this country. I alone, as a widow and a mother, I have to come out there, and I have to go to every site visit and every meeting by myself. Now, I have nothing to protect myself. I have nothing. And in saying that, I want to advocate for the rights for women, because I hear a lot of men wanting the gun issues to be cleared up. But I haven't heard any woman advocate for it as well. But I, for myself, would like the government, the Prime Minister, to pass a law with the pepper spray, as well as women being able of course, with the right protocols to be able to own a gun. We are responsible people, and as women, we need to stand up for that right, because every single guy, every single male, every single businessman advocates for themselves in that. But we are the women of the future. Our daughters are women. How many women have we seen being battered, bruised, robbed, killed? Just recently, just in my village, Diamond Village, a family member of mine, 10 o'clock in the morning, bandit came in. 2 women, 1 man, a 2-year-old baby. When he opened the gate, because they had a shop, he opened the gate, he said, we want anchor gas. The guy said, no problem. He ran in the gate, run inside. When he run inside now, 2 women, and he's an old man, my uncle. When my auntie now saw that, she ran into the room now to protect the baby. She's a 2-year-old. Now, this bandit now just pushed open the door and started to beat this woman. Started to beat my auntie on the head. She said, well, don't worry, I will give you what I want. Just don't hurt us. Right? So happened now, retired teacher came in to the shop. And she accustomed, walking into the house as well, because we are neighbors. So she walked in. They tell her, hey, hold up right there. They took her into the room as well. Right? Now the woman is so smart. She said, oh gosh, bandit. Okay, so she take out the phone from the bucket and throw it from the back pocket and throw it under the couch. Right? Because they took the phones, they used the tie straps, and they held the gun put. Now my auntie, she said, well, let me take it. It had nothing in this room, let me take it to the next room. So when they took her to the next room and she showed them or whatever, they said, we want the money, we know you have the money, where is the money, where is the gold? We know you have it. She said, no, we don't have anything. The guy took out the computer charger and wrapped it around her neck and tell her, watch me, you go dead today. Now the thing about it is, women are so smart. Now if she had that gun in the drawer, when she go to reach for that jewelry, you would think she'd have taken out that gun, and how Miss Prasad Bisasa would have said, empty the clip. They would have emptied the clip. And that is what I want for our women to stand up. We are tired being the smaller person to the men and wanting to instigate another plan. Right? I myself, going out to site visits, now I'm so afraid being a widow and a single mother. I have 2 police officer guys. I said, boys, every time I had to go out, I said, boys, here now, I go in so by so, If you see I call in half an hour, just call my phone, come look for me. I send in a location as to where I am. Imagine that, right? Now, obviously, that's a cost to incur. I can't just have them running all about just like that or waiting for my call. That's a cost, that's an extra cost. I also have to do every single day, I have to come out at different time. I have to get back in the office at different time because they're scoping us out. Now tell me if these are not problems. And then, on top of that, we have to deal with unscrupulous men who think, as the Prime Minister said, we're not choosing our men wisely. Now tell me, if the guy, a whole month now, you and the guy lineman, tell me now, what am I supposed to think if the next month, the guy starts to be a little willy-willy? How would I have known that from the beginning to choose that person? Now, I am a strong woman. I don't let anybody take advantage of me. I had to do a strict background check on you before you even come in my business or even be able to have my number, right? So if you and me the right protocol, and for me, no, you ain't going to come near me. But it have women that are vulnerable in our community, in our country, that they don't have the ability, or sometimes, I don't want to say the literacy, to know, okay, I need to ask these questions. And I know Charmaine ready for me to cut off. And I haven't touched on really the topics that I wanted to touch. But these are some of the issues. And in closing and conclusion, right, I would like to recommend just 2 things to the government, and hopefully by the next year, our new our new government, which is the UNC government, under Mrs. Kamala Prasad, Decessor, and Deputy Political Leader Dr. Munilal. You know, make the pepper spray and the firearm accessible for the people, for the women. And if you can't do that, at least send some type of self-defense classes to each community so that we are able to protect ourselves, right? Able to protect ourselves. So if a man is not home, we are able to handle it if a bandit comes. That's one of the things. And within that now, in the business community, we will also be able to help ourselves because we will feel more confident to go out there and do what we have to do what is necessary and continue business as usual. And that will also grow our community and economy, right? Understanding that we women are a crucial and integral part of the community in every household. And quoting a long-standing statement, behind every simple man, there is a very strong woman. Therefore, I want to give thanks to Dr. Munilal for allowing me this opportunity to add to this budget presentation, and well, of course, our political leader, KPB. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Marissa Prasad. Could we hear it again for her? Our most passionate. Let's hear some more round of applause for Marissa Prasad. Yes, thank you, Councillor. Councillor particularly liked that contribution, and rightly so. Dr. Munilal just said this is a riveting meeting, and absolutely, there's been a flood of a lot of ideas, a lot of fresh ideas, and they have highlighted most of the major issues, and we could keep talking, but time is not with us. We have made this meeting a success. We owe a gratitude to a number of people, but there's one person who could bring that vote of thanks much more eloquently than me. She's the secretary of the Oropouche East constituency, and she is one of the most accomplished, experienced, and recognized educators in this community. To bring the vote of thanks, Usha Rampasad.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. My job this evening is really to bring thanks to everybody who would have made this afternoon possible. Of course, you know, we started with prayer, so we must thank God for giving us the strength and health and the direction to be here this afternoon for this afternoon pre-budget consultation. I want to firstly thank our moderator this afternoon, Mr. Ken Ali. Give him a big round of applause for the fantastic job he would have done this afternoon. He is a very experienced at this job, and thank you so very much, sir, for the wonderful job you have done. I also want to extend gratitude to the members of the head table who are here this afternoon in this pre-budget consultation. Mr. Gautam Maharaj, Chairman of the PDRC, Federal Labour Regional Corporation, giving a big fantastic points. We also would like to thank none other than Dr. Narendra Rupnarayan, also who would have brought his points across very effectively. And of course, none other than the eloquent Mr. Gobind Hari Prasad for the fantastic job he would have done here as well. I would also like to extend special thanks to the national and party members who are also here with us this afternoon. And of course, the communication department from the United National Congress who are here as well. To begin with, to have this possible, to make this possible, I'd like to really say a big thank you to our political leader, the Honorable Kamala Prasad Decessor, for providing these consultations throughout the country, and especially today in our constituency this afternoon. This has really brought the people to the party, so we have been able to hear the views of the people today. I also would like to express special thanks to all the councillors who are here this afternoon, the activists, all our stakeholders, members of the business community, and of course, you members of the audience who would have made today a very dynamic afternoon. I would also like to extend special thanks to the chairman of the Oropouche East constituency, Mr. Raymond Turgali, and all the executive members, together with the staff at the Oropouche East constituency office for making today possible, to make all the arrangements possible, the chairs, the tables, have everything, organize everything, so we can come together today, tonight, to have this event. And of course, you know, I have to leave the best for last. I really would like to extend special thanks to our MP, the Honorable Dr. Munilal, for hosting this fantastic event this afternoon. We would have been able to hear so many ideas. You know, Dr. Munilal is really a man who represents the people. He's a man of the people and for the people, always representing the people of this country. And I really would like to thank him for his astute, he roars for justice in this country. Thank you very much, Dr. Munilal, for the fantastic job you do for the citizens of this country. And for those of you who would not have gotten the opportunity to speak tonight, I would really like you, if you want to keep your points in some notes, and probably you can pass it on to myself or the chairman, and we will make sure that we get those points across to the MP so that it will be added to today's consultation. Before you leave though, I know the MP would have provided refreshments, live refreshments for you all, so make sure before you leave you have those refreshments. And thank you very much. Oh yes, thank you very much for being here, and safe journey home. But as Mr. Kanhai would have said, do not remember, make sure and remember to be there at tomorrow's consultation at the office of the Member of Parliament for Siparia and the political leader of the United National Congress, the Honorable Kamala Prasad Bisesa. So see you all there tomorrow afternoon at 6:30 p.m. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, my great friend and the General Secretary of the constituency, and someone who has molded the minds of many youths of this community. There are many things you associate with this part of the country, but I'll just mention two for now. One is great hospitality, and the other is doubles. When they merge together, we have a lot of them. I'm told by Shamid in the other room. We invite you for some of that great hospitality. We thank our audience. First, I want to thank the online audience. It was a more sizable audience. Kivan tells me, a large audience, international audience also. We thank them for their viewership and their participation. And we have a spillover audience here made up of a huge cross-section of the community. 1,200? 1,200 live, yes. Yes, great. Thank you. And I know excerpts of this will be repeated. In fact, I look at a lot of these, the excerpts, and I see the contributions of various people. And I imagine Kivan has a lot of work going forward because everybody who contributed made tremendous contributions. Thank you for that audience. Thanks for those who are here. Please, the evening gets a little informal now. We ask you to join for some eats and drinks. Thank you again. Be safe. God bless you all.
We stand united in the belief that if you empower community, the community empowers the country.
We are the party that gave every child a secondary school education since 2001.
By building more schools in 11 years than others did in 40. We believe that no child,
rich or poor, should be left behind.
Which is why we give every Form 1 student a laptop to expand their minds and their dreams.
We are the party that put police cars back on the streets
and gave the police a $1,000 bonus because we believe that we should support the persons who are protecting you.
We are the party that reduced the murder rate to its lowest in 14 years. We expanded GATE, stopped the property tax, and increased maternity leave.
We are the party that invested in you and in your community by investing in schools, community centers, lighted parks, 24-hour health centers, and the most extensive road repair program in decades.
We believe that education is always a solution and that no one should have to pick between sending their child to school or buying food.
We are the party that works for you. We are the first responders in every situation, working to deliver a better standard of living for you and your family.
And most importantly, we have confidence in you, the people of Trinidad and Tobago. This is not a campaign, it's a movement based on building communities and strengthening families.
Come out and join us, and together we will get the nation working and moving again. Our children will once again have access to GATE and technology.
We will improve healthcare
by cutting the time it takes to see a doctor in an emergency. We will establish a senior citizen unit in every major hospital and staff the hospital with the doctors and nurses you need to create a first-class healthcare system. We will focus on creating high-paying jobs, fixing our laws to remove red tape, and ensuring that you and your family are safer. We will reduce corporate taxes to jumpstart the economy, create a special investment zone along the East-West corridor, and work with entrepreneurs to build a digital economy. This is an investment in your community to move the nation forward and get TNT working again.
Whether you are from 4th Street in Barataria to Railway Road in Dow Village, from Green Street in Tunapuna to Clark Road in DB, from La Hoqueta to Moruga, from Mayaro to Scarborough, we are one people with the same dreams of a better tomorrow. And when we stand together, we win together. We are UNC and proud.